for Palafox, the two kind of standard control mage mid lanes that we've been seeing.
Well, we haven't seen this in a long time. So Ashe, first few weeks, heavily banned on red side.
Yep.
And the few times that it was let go, we saw moments in which like it was Ashe Jhin, Ashe Varus constantly getting ganked and blowing flash, or dealing with a Blitzcrank that was chasing him. So in general, I feel like the higher executable, the teams that could execute it looked great on it. The teams that were really struggling in the early portions of the split of just always being on the same page really struggled.
Yeah, and one of those teams was NRG, right? It
Yes.
was Huhi piloting the Ashe. He had a really good performance on that champion. He's previously had really good performances on that champion. And then over on the Shopify Rebellion side, good old Udyr.
What if it's mid? I always want to throw this up for insanity. What if it's mid?
Could be, but no.
He's played Udyr mid before he was in LCS. Surely.
Surely.
Udyr has a lot of lane pressure.
Yeah.
What if it's Garen? Just, what if it's another one?
Let's just get a quick reminder. What has Insanity's champion pool been so far? Because it's rather peculiar.
Zac was the one. Sion is another. So
Zac, Sion, Garen, Corki,
He had the one Corki game.
So he played basically two carries.
Yeah, he's not going to be able to play Orianna or Azir because they took care of that already by banning it themselves. I don't think we're going to see his pick yet.
Yeah, I think they'd probably save it for later in the draft. Or, like you said, maybe...
I mean, I guess they could... The Sion came in during 1-2-3.
Ooh. Kalista Ashe. That's a really dominating lane. That's something that Shopify Rebellion has to deal with because at least in some of their
they got to
losses
pick their
most
support
recently-
now.
Yeah, let's go for it. They need to.
That looks tough.
That's never going to happen.
Yeah, the Bard would be tough. You would like never really be able to leave, it feels like.
Yeah. So, honestly, a Blitzcrank wouldn't be too bad. Nautilus would just be a lot more standard.
You just got to get him.
Yeah.
The whole plan.
It would be a lot more standard. So, a lot of action bot lane. And I'm expecting a lot of hovering just in general to support Varus and Nautilus if a wave is stacking against them. That has just been something that FlyQuest fell to when they went up against NRG. Shopify Rebellion doesn't want to be that team.
Yeah.
We're going to get a lot of jungle bans.
Yeah.
Oh, here he comes.
What do they not want Contractz to play?
It's been a while since I've seen jungle go to 4-5 pretty consistently these days.
Well, also, like, Ksante, Ashe, Kalista. I mean, I guess you can still do an AD jungler if you have just, like, a big control mage mid lane.
Yeah.
But both teams, I mean, specifically NRG, way more AD heavy than Shopify.
True.
Because Udyr will do enough magic damage depending on what you build on him.
The Corki ban coming out. They don't want to give that over to Palafox.
Yeah. That makes sense, right? Shopify's just going to keep banning out whatever does the most damage mid, because that's really what Palafox needs to have.
Well, I think we could also see, I'm wondering if this will be a Taliyah ban coming out against Palafox as well, because that's been another really strong pick for him specifically. Also a high damage, or fairly high damage AP mage mid. But no, the Twisted Fate ban coming out against Palafox, which is interesting because I think Palafox will play it, but I also have been waiting for Insanity to play that as well, just because Insanity is such a TF enjoyer, or has been historically in his career.
That's the thing, and there has been good conversations happening about Twisted Fate. He has been getting banned on 4-5 a lot more, but no one has really been able to play him. Just questions on whether or not ADTF is good. But in this game, strictly regardless of what damage you're going, Twisted Fate works for bot lane. And jungle. Like if you're going counterpick jungle in 4-5, Twisted Fate can really help in that. So,
what's he cooking? What are Revenant and Insanity cooking? Because there's so many mid bans.
We were just talking about Huhi earlier, so
that might be it.
Please?
No.
You can't blind.
He's gonna lock in Taliyah.
Yeah, he can't do it.
Yeah.
He's gonna hold on to 5 for that one, but a Taliyah pick is going to be the lock-in for Shopify.
Kind of boring.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's good.
But it's also a champ he hasn't played yet. So, you know, he continues his unique champion streak.
Great setup for Nautilus.
Congratulations on your engagement.
The Nautilus will have great setup overall with the Taliyah, and also
it's good against Kalista too.
Great for Kalista. So that's a big
it's it's actually just a good pick.
Yeah.
Are y'all sure that's jungle Taliyah or is that mid Taliyah?
Oh, that would be fun.
Ooh,
that is a good question. Yeah, I'm not sure.
Bugi might be able to bust that out.
I was thinking it would be jungle, but honestly, it might just straight up be Insanity's pick.
What if it's a Garen? This could actually work as a Garen run back. I know I'm being...
Taliyah jungle, Garen mid?
Sure. They won't.
I love how just because Insanity is willing to play these champs, we have to keep this in mind for Shopify Rebellion at all times. But then obviously the Neeko mid for Palafox. We saw even in the loss, JoJo piloting that had a really good performance on it.
Yeah.
It'd be tough to Garen into that.
7 seconds left. Nocturne.
Nocturne Neeko. All right,
Okay.
they're full
Nocturne,
flank.
Yeah.
Honestly. I feel like Nocturne's for the Gorals. I really do.
I mean, that combination with Neeko and Nocturne in general, great engage.
Yes.
Yes.
Really tough to see. And you have Kalista as well. So, like,
Yep.
overall, Shopify's got to know what's going to hit them.
Gosh.
Is that just another Sion mid?
Jungle! It's not the Garen, but it's the Sion.
Another Sion mid coming in from Insanity.
And they're flexing.
Huge.
There's a lot to take in so far. What are your thoughts on this one, Emily?
That's something. I mean, I will say, if provided that their bot lane, they can keep it afloat.
Yeah.
Because obviously NRG is going to want to hard slam bot. Nocturne is not something necessarily where Contractz will be able to, depending on how he plays. I mean, I know junglers like Contractz and Blabber have said we think it can be an early game pick as well. But my eyes are actually more on the bot lane. I don't know much about the Neeko Sion matchup, so we'll toss it to casters to see what they think.
Muchas gracias, Emily, and the rest of the lounge. Both of these compositions, I mean, when you look at Shopify Rebellion, you got 3 giant meat walls in front of Taliyah and Varus. And
meat
NRG.
Walls?
Yeah.
That's a new one.
Yeah, 3 meatballs, man.
Oh, I thought you said meat wall.
Yeah. Oh, I see. I confused myself. Holy moly. Meanwhile, NRG, you have multiple flank options.
Been drinking on the job, Raafaa?
No, it's just water. I promise.
Oh,
Pretty sure it's water.
Yeah.
Hang on. Yeah, it's water. I don't know. Anyway, NRG, multiple flank angles and options that they can take. And I always love when you spice in Nocturne with something like Neeko, because Neeko engages can be predictable now that pro players are used to the minion setups. But if you just turn out all the lights, you can't even tell if Neeko's coming from a mile away.
I mean, it's kind of just the new era of Nocturne Cannon, to be honest. You know, that's kind of that old school combo that people used to really love to play. You turn off the lights, the flank comes in. It's very difficult to react to. You don't really know where they're coming from. And even if it was worded out, you may lose track of where they're actually going to be coming in from. So that can be really, really tough. Bvoy is actually playing Hill of Blades. So this you can go on hit, but much more commonly you see lethality with this. And I was gonna say that he's probably just gonna be going lethal tempo because that's what he's played every game that he's played Varus. So I thought it was gonna be just full on lethal tempo. I do think if he goes lethality, they're gonna be too low damage. I do think on that side, you know, and they could run into some problems there because you basically have 3 tanks, and then if you're lethality Varus plus, you know, just that Taliyah obviously does really good damage, but I don't know if it would be enough on its own. On the other side, it's a lot about the initial engage. It's about Neeko and Nocturne trying to take out that back line. And then if you can kill off the Varus, if you can kill off the Taliyah, then it's kind of the job of FBI to clean everything else up, right? You might not be able to quickly kill off that Sion and the Udyr and so on, but you can definitely deal with them over time. So we'll have to see how it goes. NRG definitely looking good. FlyQuest moved to 5-1 today. They are now in current sole possession of first place. NRG looking to join them, as it had been, you know, kind of a conversation. Really, the 4 teams that people had talked the most about were NRG, FlyQuest, TL, and C9 as kind of those top 4. C9 was seen as like definitively first. This was not just like a caster analyst thing. Every team, I talked to a coach from every team, plus a lot of pros, everyone was telling me pre-season that Cloud9 is by far the best team. Even coming this week, everyone was still telling me that, except for one team I heard we're doing better against them in scrims. So it is surprising, but these are two of the teams that, you know, Shopify was kind of seen more as like middle of the pack, but they were able to take down Cloud9. They were able to take down one of the big dogs, and NRG, I think, you know, is really looking good and really looking quite dominant. Even more so, I think, than people expected right out the gate, because a lot of the expectations were this team might start slow, but then get really good. Yeah, and both of the bright spots for Shopify and NRG comes from this mid lane, right? Insanity and Palafox, 2 of our mid laners who are native, and they came up or started making a bigger name for themselves last year. Obviously, Palafox has been in the LCS league for quite some time and on a journey for himself, but with Insanity,
I mean, he was given a chance to sub in for TSM last split, and he did not hesitate and made huge on the payoff.
Absolutely, and his champion pool, both last split and this split, has actually really been a big talking point. Last split, he was playing mid lane Graves and all this kind of stuff. This split, as
we had an all-in on the bottom side of the map. I don't know what happened. It was a crash from the side of NRG, but the dive was completely outplayed by Zeyzal and Bvoy.
Yeah, we're gonna have to see that one more time. But you know, Insanity, you know, last split, you know, was all about these kind of different picks that he was playing, and this time, once again, you know, he's played the Sion, he's played Zach, he's played all kinds of different stuff in mid lane. The Garen as well yesterday, which didn't really work out, but you know, he has been staying flexible. It's one of the things that people will tell you about Revan as well, is that he was also that coach over on TSM and is one of those guys that is comfortable, you know, with taking risks and with doing some different stuff. So he's been playing that different stuff. And we're gonna watch this one more time to see exactly what happened, as we actually missed this live. They're just looking for the straight up dive onto Bvoy, but this is a really risky dive, trying to dive through the Nautilus. Nautilus got level 2 there, so I think they maybe weren't expecting him to get level 2 that early, but he gets level 2, blocks that completely up. Bvoy survives as well. That's a disaster for NRG.
I don't know. I have no comment on that. I'm completely baffled, but maybe FBI and Huhi just overestimated their hand. I mean, is that bad for them? They had a huge wave
really
stacking.
bad.
Oh, man.
I mean, had that worked out, though, it would basically be game over for Bvoy, because he had no farm. They had a fat stack wave. If they get the kills, even if it's like a trade, if they kill him off and he gets none of that farm, none of that experience, he'd be pretty out of it. As you can see, Insanity just kind of constantly being pushed in here, being bullied quite a bit. It's not an absolute, you know, end of game scenario for NRG, because they had way more farm.
Yeah.
On the other side, I do think it would have been, but because, you know, FBI and Huhi had complete lane dominance, had all that farm, it's not the end of the world for them. But you can see Bugi here hovering. They have got to be careful. If you do get hooked in by Zeyzal with the Taliyah around, you are definitely dead. And there's no flash on FBI or Huhi, so could have those junglers hovering around here.
Yeah, it is curious because NRG, even though they botched the dive, Palafox going in for the solo bowl on Insanity, but not enough. Sion's too tanky.
Yeah, that was really close, though. They did get the flash, and we can talk about this head-to-head between these two mid laners, because these guys really have been kind of going at it. You know, this is their stats in their matchup, you know, against each other, or excuse me, no, it's the stats, I guess, just I think league-wide comparing against each other. But both players, you know, have been obviously pretty pivotal for their teams. Palafox, I think, especially last split, that was really kind of his rise to fame, and people really starting to stand up and really take notice of how good this guy was. But at the same time, even though Insanity was obviously on a much worse team, didn't, you know, accomplish as much as far as the big results, people were really saying he was the big bright spot on that team, and everyone kind of wanted to see him staying around with this squad, even when TSM sold.
Meanwhile, it looks like Contractz was trying to start up Grubs, but Bugi's able to yoink one over with the smite. As a constant 2v2 is still out on the prowl. Dredge line connects on to Huhi. Ignite connects as well. A lot of damage, one more auto attack, and the piercing arrow from Bvoy gets the kill down in this bot lane.
Nicely done. I mean, NRG kind of playing with fire. They got a decent initial trade, but that wave is so fat. When you're trading into a wave like that, you're taking so much minion damage. You'll often take more damage from the minions than you will from the enemy players in those kind of situations. But Contractz is here. He does not have flash, so not really going to be able to make anything happen. And the problem is the hook comes back up there for Zeyzal. Huhi doesn't have his flash. He can't get out of range. And when you get hooked back in, there's just no way for FBI to fight back into that. So despite the fact that Bvoy got low, Bvoy gets another kill. And now the farm, you know, really not that different on either side. He's going to have a much better buy. It is going to be lethality, though, for him. So maybe some potential concerns about later on. But again, like, look at how much minion damage there is. You know, between all of these, that's what, 6, 7 range minions? Maybe even 8, plus the cannon hitting him. Like, that's a couple hundred damage that FBI probably took there. And then this hook comes in. There's no minions to actually block the hook. There's no way that FBI can stand up against all of those minions and trade in and win that trade. So it is a pretty good hook, results in a kill. But, you know, those early unforced errors there from NRG kind of starting to bite them. I've got to say, Bvoy has been on point for the squad since he's come in. I feel like even in losses, he's been a bright spot in a lot of those games. Yeah. And in their big win against Cloud9, he was massive on the Varus in that one.
Yeah, and you know, the funny thing is that in that win against Cloud9, you know, we can look back and say that Cloud9, you know, fumbled the dive and gave Bvoy and Zeyzal a huge lead to benefit off of it.
Kind of the same thing.
It's kind of the same story here from NRG. They did not play the dive as well as they could have, and Bvoy, Zeyzal got the better of them, and now they're running away with the advantage.
Yep. Mid lane, obviously, heavily in the favor of Palafox as far as the CS, but it's Sion mid. Honestly, who cares? It doesn't really matter if you're down a little bit of farm. He can probably just rush Koenig Rooker, and then he's not really going to care about what Palafox is doing anymore, because the Koenig recharges for every single wave, right? And you're going to have this 600 plus HP shield even on your first item completion. It also scales with your total HP, which makes it insane on Sion because of the Soul Furnace passive. You're getting more and more and more. And I've had games on Sion where I've built this item and it's been shielding me for like 1200, 1400, where you get to those late game stages and you have a lot of passive stacks. Ooh. As that hook narrowly misses FBI. So I think we're going to see Insanity go towards that, just be stabilizing on that Koenig Rooker and looking to play around for the team. If he falls down on farm, that's fine. As long as he's not dying and giving Palafox any massive advantage, it's not going to be a big deal because bot lane is already winning, top lane is already winning. He doesn't need to be the hero in this game.
Yep, Insanity just needs to be an immovable object so that NRG cannot brute force their way through him. And if Palafox can never get wave push against Insanity because he's just soaking up all the trading and the poke constantly, then Palafox can never look for those roams and try and snowball energy alongside this Nocturne. Yeah,
it's going to make it a really tough job for them. We'll see, though. Obviously the opportunities here, especially again, as I said, if Bvoy is going lethality, I wasn't expecting that when I saw the draft, but with him going lethality, you are pretty low as far as consistent damage when you look over at this Shopify team. Maybe FakeGod will build a little bit more aggressive.
Dredge line connects onto Huhi, but FBI with the Fate's Call is going to save his support from danger. Thought about maybe going back in, but at this point, just the way how Bvoy and Zeyzal have been handling this lane, this is just so dangerous for FBI and Huhi to get too close.
I mean, there's no way you can go back in because Zeyzal and Bvoy still have their ult. So they're going to start for the ult and look for the follow-up.
Yeah, Flash ulti and Bugi is here as well to connect. FBI's got nowhere to run, and the Unraveled Earth right on top of Kalista means if you try to hop, skip, and jump, you are stunned in place.
Yeah, nicely done. They get that kill on FBI. I will say they maybe could have even gotten both if Bvoy just held his ulti till Zeyzal's ult lands, because then it's guaranteed. He threw it out at that same time. Contractz now may be in trouble, though.
Yeah, he's got the paranoia and the flash. Palafox turns out the lights as well with Contractz as they try to turn it on to Insanity, but he's so tanky. It's going to be so hard to actually take him down. Dhokla comes as well before Insanity forces the flash away, but Contractz gets burned down by FakeGod, and now he's in the 1v2. He needs help from Bugi, who's come back from the base. Dhokla finds the angle, and Insanity is able to pop over the wall, but Unraveled Earth and Seismic Shove catches Palafox. One more auto attack should do the trick. It's the flash, and another rock that pelts Palafox in the face.
6-1 for Shopify. They are cleaning house here as Palafox and Contractz send it onto the Sion. They're not going to have nearly enough damage to actually burst him down. FakeGod arrives, and Udyr thrives in these kind of situations. He will crush you if you overcommit. This champion has such high base damages. So not only do they get the kills, they're going to be able to push up top, probably get at least one more plate top, and take the grubs here as well. So this is looking really good. That's 3 plates already for FakeGod top lane. 20 plus CS in his advantage. They got the first dragon. They're getting triple grubs. There will be some plays traded back on bot side, but this is Shopify starting to run away with this one.
Yeah, and it's not just, the bot lane advantage creeping on over. It is now the whole map playing cohesively as a team. Watch the replay again.
Yeah, and I mean, this initial play, obviously, it is Contractz getting caught out, but why fully commit to this? Even if it connected on the Udyr, it just doesn't matter. You're full sending everything into Insanity. But the problem is, Udyr is so good in these situations because he can peel so effectively. You go into Ram, you're stunning people up. Then you have Phoenix, AoE slow, AoE burn. Tiger damage is pretty high. Like, you're kind of just bouncing around, CCing people up, slowing them down, getting that damage out. And yes, eventually Insanity does die, but Palafox does get traded to Wild. Nice little flash in there by Bugi to kind of bend the queue around. Insanity having a little bit of a laugh. Last time they played the Sion, they did win. It was that Sion versus Vayne matchup. Obviously, even more punishing than something like this one would be. I mean, he's kind of hit the point already where I don't think Palafox can hurt him anymore, and I don't think that's going to change the rest of the game.
Yeah.
You really do have a slim window when you're playing against these type of picks, and you're not really like a high sustained damage dealer. Neeko is just not going to hurt this guy when he has this much MR already.
Yeah, I know we talked about it before. The burst damage from, control mages like this, or just burst mages in general. Insanity has been answering with tanks in the past few of these games. Obviously, he's only won 1 game with it so far, but the theory behind it is incredible, because if you're just able to rush the Koenig Rooker in its current state, you're able to negate a lot of that threat that you have. But I want to shift the attention over towards the top side of the map with FakeGod and Dhokla, because FakeGod coming back into LCS is kind of on a similar journey that Dhokla had when he came back with CLG.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, these guys have had kind of interesting journeys. There's a lot of these players now in the league that have not had that linear journey. You know, I think Zeyzal's kind of in the same boat. You know, if you look at the timeline from Dhokla and FakeGod, these are guys who, you know, come up into LCS for a little bit, go down back into Academy, had to kind of earn their way back up, had to kind of, you know, change the narrative, so to speak, about themselves.
Build up that confidence, too.
Exactly. I mean, Dhokla first came back in, I want to say when he was playing on, like, Envy, it was, like, 2017 or something. I remember him in the LCS. I remember even playing some Yorick games and stuff that was, like, really off meta. You know, it was Optic. It was Optic that he was playing.
Yeah, he split time with Alorum back in the day, too.
And so, you know, he kind of came up, you know, did not actually last in the LCS very long as Sarah looked for a dive.
He's super tanky, but they're investing almost every single ultimate they have at their disposal to take him out. As that was 4 members committed from Shopify Rebellion. Let's see what NRG can get done in response. But they got mid push to maybe threaten this tower, but it's just FBI. And you're right, Azael, it's absolutely nada.
Yeah, I mean, FakeGod's even pushing up top, but to finish that, Contractz misclick there. I think that's an accidental flash, 100%. That is unfortunate when you're already having a bad game. And it's going to be Insanity back, TPing back down. But, you know, it's also, I mean, Dhokla actually won Most Valuable Prospect in the Academy before coming back into the LCS. And then, you know, won a championship here, went to Worlds, has really been able to perform at a high level for the team. So I think these kind of players are really doing a good job of disproving the fact that you can't improve as you get older, right? There's kind of been this narrative around players as they age. It's like, well, all right, you're 25 or whatever, you know, you've been around for a while, time to get someone new because this guy's not getting better.
Yeah.
Well, these guys are starting to show you that, hey, even if you've been in competitive for a while, you still really can improve if given the chance.
Let's see if Shopify Rebellion can secure this dragon. Paranoia from Contractz turns out the lights. Arrow from onto Bugi as they just nail him in the bud. As they're able to deliver enough burst damage there. Palafox already with the engage, but they are forced to retreat as FakeGod is doing an incredible amount of work alongside the rest of his backline to just keep NRG at a distance. Dhokla is forced to be the sacrificial lamb for NRG as Palafox is forced to flash away. Despite taking out Bugi, Shopify Rebellion still win the fight.
Yeah, they get that initial kill on Bugi, but the rest of the squad can't really fight through that front line there. From Shopify, and Bvoy was largely untouched and didn't have to use the flash, did expend that cleanse. So they're kind of just getting cooked up as they're trying to push through that front line, trying to get into the back line. You know, FakeGod at this point really, really strong. So it is going to be the Dragon for Shopify. It's a 4K lead here. And this one, I think, is already getting close to being out of reach for NRG, so it would be another top team following to Shopify. Shopify is becoming the new NRG.
Oh, baby. And we'll take a look at the replay once again.
Yeah, this ulti, follow Huhi, his ulti is really nice here as he finds the angle over the wall, gets up against it, nails the ult, past all these tanks, in goes Contractz into that back line. They get that first kill. But look at where Palafox is. He cannot get past anyone here. The ulti from him doesn't even come close to breaking the Candy Crooker. And it hits onto FakeGod as well, but FakeGod's not threatened by that whatsoever. Dhokla is just getting slowed up, chased down. This whole squad here from Shopify just rallying around Bvoy, creating space for him, making sure that he can step forward. And Bvoy now 5-0. Yes, he's going to lethality, but he is still going to have so much damage. And no one's building armor yet on NRG. You know, Dhokla went straight for that Hollow Domain, I believe it is. Hollow Radiance, excuse me. So the Hollow Radiance, so he is just purely MR. You know, he's on Hollow Radiance plus the Merc Treads as well. So there's no armor. It's not like he has anything to deal with. Everyone is pretty squishy for him right now, and he's going to be crushing until Dhokla can get a lot of armor, but that might be too late.
Yeah, I mean, it's all snowballed from just the botch dive from NRG at the beginning of the game. The fact that Bvoy and Zeyzal are the ones that came out ahead of the laning phase, they're able to hit those item spikes first. And FBI and Huhi, before the lounge tossed to us for the cast, we were discussing like, hey, you know, does NRG's backline, can they deal with the 3 meat walls of Shopify Rebellion? It's like, yeah, eventually with the on-hit build, but if they're behind,
yeah,
it's so difficult.
It's tough.
Yeah, you need someone to buy you enough time so that you can get all those spears stacked up and then eventually rend them through the tanks.
Yeah, and you got to be able to burst down the carries, you know, on Shopify to be able to find that, right? And I do think they had a great engage from Huhi and Contractz, but Palafox had no flash. He had no way to get back to that backline. Palafox needs to be on a flanking angle as well. If Palafox was back there too and Bvoy dies instantly, then it's a very different fight.
Yeah.
But he obviously couldn't get in there. So we'll see if NRG can kind of set up an angle to find a better fight here, as they do have the Herald looking to march down mid lane. Sion gonna load on up. Nocturne ult gets popped, but they should be able to just back this one off. I don't think it's going to accomplish anything.
Yeah, I mean, Dhokla teleports in, but they're able to
jump
see
it again.
Yeah, Rift Herald charge once again, but the smite from Contractz kills the Herald, so no charge comes from it. Dhokla is still threatening on the flank from the left side, but Shopify Rebellion do not seem pressed at all.
No, they are not concerned at all. I mean, especially now that Contractz popped his ulti, Nocturne without ultimate is just incredibly useless. Like, there's absolutely nothing you do in these team fights. There's no way you're just walking past Zeyzal and FakeGod and Insanity and getting the backline. So you basically know they can't engage until he has ulti again. And Nocturne ult is really long. And it was a 95-second cooldown at this point. You know, these new Nocturne builds don't really have much CDR at all. Experimental Hexblade is almost always the first item, has 0 CDR on it. You know, he's not going CDR boots or anything like that. So they have a full minute and a half where they know we can just walk up and hit the tower and you can't do anything about it. So Shopify feeling really confident, 6K in the gold lead, can continue collecting these objectives and potentially cruise towards their second win. And that would, if they do get that win, that leaves FlyQuest alone in first place.
Yep. And that would be quite something for a lot of where we were expecting all the teams to really shake up. I know that not even FlyQuest was like a concrete third from all of us on the broadcast, and even, you know, a lot of community reactions as well. There's people that had them, oh, well, Masu Boost, you're going to take some time. Yeah, like some people had them fourth, some people had them fifth, thinking that the younger guys in FlyQuest were going to take some time to adjust. I mean, they had a fantastic showing today against Cloud9's bot lane today.
Yeah.
And if Shopify Rebellion clean out this win, sole possession of first place, and FlyQuest will be the team to beat going into the second half.
Absolutely. You know, and they'll have to obviously, you know, finish it up tomorrow. That will be the last game of the first round robin. Last game of Super Week will be tomorrow. So every team will have played 7 games, trying to set themselves up well for that second half. And next week we're going to be on 14-3, and we're also going to have Smolder enabled, which is going to be really fun.
Have you put any games in him?
I have. I've heard very, very mixed opinions. Some people think he is giga OP and like absolutely busted. Other people think he's way too weak early to get to the point, you know, but we'll see.
Contractz pops the ult, looks for Bvoy, but it's the immediate flash for the wall. Gets out alive, and NRG's attempt to engage is fizzled.
But I will say, that's actually a pretty good one from Contractz, because he didn't have to flash, they didn't commit anything else, just his ulti. And I guess Dhokla popped Ghost as he was looking for some sort of an angle, but you get the flash for that. That could be trouble for Zeyzal as well.
Yeah, maybe on Zeyzal, it's just a support. He's not as tanky as the rest of his brothers, and Dhokla goes all out and takes him. It's a 5-on-4 now for NRG, but they whittle down Dhokla and take him out. Bvoy, no flash. Contractz commits his own to take him out. Palafox looking over the wall, but Bugi's able to distance himself away with his own flash. Meanwhile, FakeGod is burning down FBI. The hop, skip, and jump, it doesn't matter, because they still burst down to a crisp. And now it's Palafox on the run, completely pinned by 3. Bugi, unraveled earth and seismic shove, finds him as he gets stunned up in Insanity. One more decimating smash to do the trick as he looks to cut his head off, and he goes down.
Yeah, he's going to be able to knock down another one. FakeGod just got in the backline against FBI and Huhi, and they can't do anything when they do. They have to full send it into the backline. I was surprised they re-engaged again. No Nocturnal. I feel like they really should have waited for it. Yes, you find the Ashe arrow, but it is only on the support. Dhokla goes in, and look how quickly he's actually burst down here as Varus is just cutting through him. Contractz flashes in, does get that initial kill. They try to finish off Bugi. Palafox flashed over the wall to try to find that ulti, still couldn't get in range. Then he's kind of stuck out. And on the other side of the fight, FakeGod's gonna 1v2 your bot lane because everyone kind of left them. So they committed so much there, both flashes from their flankers in Contractz and Palafox. And not having that Nocturne ult meant it was really, really hard. Because if they have Nocturne ulti for that fight, Bugi dies. Bugi was really, really low at that point. So I feel like they got a little bit antsy, and they could be punished because anytime there's no flash on Palafox, anytime there's no flash, no ult on Contractz, Shopify are just going to play with reckless abandon. They know they cannot really be punished.
Yeah, Shopify now have 3 dragons to their name. They are 6,000 gold up, and NRG definitely know, even if they are not able to calculate the exact gold deficit they're experiencing, they know they are severely behind.
Yeah.
And you can imagine that that's why they are fielding these desperation attempts. It's just not working.
Yeah, I mean, they can definitely feel that they're behind, but at the same time, I feel like you got flashed for free with just the Nocturnal on Bvoy. You could have just waited, and then on the next Nocturnal, go for a kill on him, try to make a play around that. But I feel like they jumped the gun. Either way, you know, we'll see if they can kind of try to find some way to recover, but it is going to be very difficult because, you know, it's really just all up to the engages, and everyone else on the team is getting so strong that it's very problematic, right? There's Zhonya's now on Bugi, so he's tough to burst down. Basically can only be Bvoy. But look at FakeGod. Like, he's going to have a Frozen Heart here soon. He's got Tabby's Frozen Heart. You know, you can see that when that's completed, there's going to be a second Frozen Heart already that has been completed on Insanity. Plus the Kaenic Rooker, they both have a Kaenic Rooker, they both have Tabbies. They are going to be nearly impossible for FBI and Huhi to punch through unless it's kind of a concerted team effort. So your engage has to be perfect, have to one-shot both the carries, then find a way to slowly whittle down these tanks.
You know, the funny thing is, after Shopify Rebellion's first win and we did some content with FakeGod and Insanity, he was like, I need to make a tweet. I was like, what? What do you need to tweet? I hate Udyr, man. I know, FakeGod, that maybe you would like to play another champion, but you're just too damn good at it, man. And champion's pretty good. And so far, oh, what do you got from Zeyzal?
Well, just that it's only his second game on Udyr, and they won the other one. Yeah. Right? And it's funny because I actually talked to them after that Cloud9 win. I saw him, and I was asking him, you know, like how he thought things were going. And he's like, well, I haven't been able to play Udyr the whole split, and Udyr's so OP. I'm always having to play against it. I finally got to play it today. It's free win. And again, he's getting it here. Things are looking really, really good. And Shopify setting up here around the Baron. You're trying to deny vision. NRG were looking for some sort of a sneaky Baron. But Insanity just kind of walks in, says hello, gives them a little thumbs up. And they say, I apologize. We'll leave.
You know what? I realize that this is not my Baron to take. We will walk away now. The Shopify Rebellion maintained full control of this map. And it's just getting further and further away from any chance for NRG to come back in this game. Dragon not spawning anytime soon, but they have full possession of this map. They're going to take this turret with ease. FakeGod can push it on his own thanks to Awakened Storm. And then they can just go back to the Baron and force NRG to flip their hand.
Yep, can just look to start that up. I mean, at the same time, their damage is pretty low. I don't know if they will. I think they're definitely going to play towards Dragon Soul, look to get that, and then we'll see where they want to go from there. You know, obviously, your Baron is low risk because you have so many tanks to tank the damage, but ADC Varus is not going to punch through that very, very quickly, nor is, you know, a Zhonya's 2-item Taliyah, but as Taliyah does get more items, obviously the damage is really going to ramp up. Looking like it'll be a Leandry's next for Taliyah, which is going to be quite nice against some of these melee champions that will be running at you.
As you said, in a Shopify Rebellion taking their time. They're just going to wait for the next dragon. No need to look at the Baron anytime yet. And if NRG are the ones that feel threatened and they say, you know what, we're going to rush the Baron, Shopify Rebellion have great collapse. They can easily poke in with range from Varus. And NRG, I mean, they're going to take their moment to at least just force Shopify to come to them. This could get dicey for NRG.
Look at Palafox. He's trying to find some sort of an angle, but the carries really aren't over there. We'll see if they can find it. He's very far.
Yeah, Fate's call from FBI saves Huhi for now. Zeyzal is the one caught up. Paranoia from Contractz as he sails on in. 4-on-5 right now. Favored for NRG.
Palafox.
But Insanity and FakeGod are doing great work on the front line. Palafox finds the angle. Pop blossom over the wall. But will be enough. Bvoy still alive. Bugi is able to flash away. Dhokla goes all out. Finds the jungler. The rest of NRG now have to kite them out. Bvoy still alive and can deal damage, but he has to play through FakeGod, and he needs to make sure that FakeGod gets out alive so that they do not forfeit dragon control. NRG are able to take away 2, but nothing more.
Yeah, they just can't finish off those tanks, and as a result, it means they can't finish off the Baron. They can't go back to it. If Bvoy stops these recalls, that is actually really big. Nice spell shield there for Contractz, so it'll keep him alive. But they want to delay these bases because now the dragon is on the map, and Shopify's going to run straight there and try to get this soul. Uh-oh. And if you thought they were tanky already, how about when they get Mountain Soul? Insanity barely can't stop that recall, but the soul is theirs. It doesn't matter. No one from NRG is going to be close enough to actually get over there. And that is going to be now Mountain Soul on this already brick wall team. Good luck, FBI and Huhi.
Yeah, and for NRG fans, it's so bittersweet because that look from Palafox looks so good, but Bvoy being able to position away from that threat, keeping himself alive, is what ensures that Shopify Rebellion don't completely lose that fight.
Yeah, it was a good engage from Palafox, but as you say, it didn't catch both the carries, right? You know, Bvoy had warded over the wall, so they had eyes on Palafox. They knew that he was there. Disrespected the engage a little bit, but because NRG is so far behind, it's kind of a wallet diff. You know, in a more even game, the tanks probably die and they probably get Baron, and then you're like, well, I guess GG, because then they can deny soul and maybe they can have a chance to really turn things around. But in this game, Bvoy was positioned back. He was in that banana brush, does not get caught by the engage, and he is really punishing these champions that are trying to chase in and finish off the tanks. So we'll see. Some items are obviously coming through for NRG, but it feels like a little bit too little and a little bit too late as you're looking what the tanks have. And it's just so hard to think how you're ever going to punch through these people with now Mountain Soul. I mean, the Sion, the Canic Rooker Shield for Sion is now almost 800.
Uh-oh, Palafox, what you doing? Bugi finds him and then looks for the collapse. Already using the stasis from that Zonia's, and now Palafox is in a world of trouble. Contractz tries to turn off the lights to buy some time as they look for the collapse on Insanity and Zeyzal, but these are two meat walls again. And Dhokla tries to go all out on an Insanity, but now he's just trying to kite away. Interrupts the ultimate from Insanity because he knew that Insanity was looking at the rest of NRG's backline. Dhokla giving himself up as a sacrificial lamb, but the damage is done. Shopify now can turn towards this Baron.
Yeah, Shopify crush them. They get 2 kills. Both the Soul Linears are down, and it costs them very little here. FakeGod just going to go cover mid while the rest of the team does slowly chop down this Baron. They have everything they really need from this point. They're going to be able to use this Baron, step forward, look to really try to crack the base, as I feel like there's a great chance that they can do it.
8,000 gold up, Mountain Soul on their side, Baron buff at plays. I have to say, Azael, just to kind of zoom out, the league has just been crazy. I know we touched upon it earlier, but, you know, teams are kind of all over the place in terms of where everyone is scaling up. FlyQuest potentially about to be in sole position of first place after this game. The only loss they suffered was against NRG.
And our only team that didn't have 2 wins at least was Shopify. Shopify is about to get their 2nd win. So it's really quite insane, you know, how close the league is. We'll have 3 teams at 2 wins, assuming this goes to chalk. You know, they will all just be 1 game back of Cloud9, TL, and 100 Thieves, who are at 3. Then it would be NRG alone in 2nd at 4, and FlyQuest in 1st at 5 wins. So very, very close. You know, only a couple games between 1st and last, really, which is kind of crazy. Yeah. Obviously, we'll have 1 more game tomorrow, so maybe the standings could spread out a bit. But every team has actually been quite competitive. There's really no free wins. Sometimes you hear these rumors and scrims where people are like, it's really competitive. Anyone could beat anyone. You're like, well, I don't really believe you. But
the scrim bucks do not add up.
No, but I mean, it's kind of showing itself on stage here, right? Where it's like, okay, yeah, Immortals can beat people, Dignitas can beat people, Shopify is beating people. There's no easy team. Like when we're talking about strength of schedule, there's no free wins.
Yep. And with that, this might be the last paranoia we see in the game. Contractz, 1 last Hail Mary into the back line. Gets absolutely nothing as Bugi just pops the stasis as well. FakeGod just doing a number on the back line as he's just burning everyone down on this Udyr. Shopify Rebellion have to deal with Palafox, but they blow him up before he even gets to pop his Pop Blossom. FBI, last member standing, instantly gets deleted. And Shopify Rebellion, a dominant win, takes out NRG.
What a stomp by Shopify. 12,000 gold. 30 minutes, Soul, Baron, everything going their way. Obliterated NRG. Zeyzal flashing in, having a little bit of fun with it as the inhib. They're even taking down the mid lane inhib there. Padding the stats a bit, having some fun with it, getting their 2nd win. 2 Sion mid games, 2 Sion mid wins, 2 Udyr top games, 2 Udyr top wins. So the tanky boys working well for Shopify, especially against what NRG had here. When NRG failed that dive, it was great by Zeyzal and Bvoy how they played that out. They both survived, they get the kills, they put themselves in a position to win the game. And NRG made it really hard for him. FakeGod was already doing very well in the 1v1 top lane. Udyr, really strong early laner. And then you look at the 5v5s, FakeGod was such a menace for FBI and Huhi. These guys just have the Udyr running straight at them. They can never follow up on these engages, on these dives that their team wants them to. And they don't even have enough damage to be able to take down the tanks on their own. So it was definitely a tough spot that NRG got themselves into. And a really well played game here by Shopify, who draws even now with Immortals and Dignitas. It is going to be that 3-way tie for 6th after 6 games played.
And what a pleasant surprise.